A major hurricane has shipping on the run.
We got a squall coming, so we're about to have some fun.
Growing far larger and far stronger than predicted, to leap out of the darkness and strike.
Tornado?
With unexpected fury. As storms hit new extremes and defy prediction. National Geographic gave cameras to more than 1,000 marine workers to film wherever storms might strike. Right around the globe, on a scale never seen before. This is what came back from our cameras in the path of Hurricane Humberto.
Hey, Mike, can you get any slack out of that rope?
You got 6 foot.
Hey, guys.
In the Gulf of Mexico, Danny Fiddler of fishing boat Daytona is heading out to sea with one of our cameras.
This is, we're headed out to pass in the channel in Panama City, St. Andrews Bay. Headed out to go fishing. We've got about a 200-mile run ahead of us. Now the seas are picking up a little bit as we exit into the Gulf. Sunny though, but we are in an area where we could be hit by hurricanes at any time.
Last thing I watched last night was the Weather Channel. First thing I flipped on this morning was the Weather Channel. And I'm sure when I go home, I'll look at it again. Try not to get too preoccupied with the damn Weather Channel. This is our job. This is what we do. We are dependent upon Mother Nature.
Fishing fleets across the southern U.S. have been sheltering in port since Category 5 Hurricane Dorian devastated the Bahamas and swept up the eastern seaboard. Captain Jay Mullins of the fishing boat Blackjack II out of Fort Myers, Florida, is finally able to put to sea again and start earning money.
We're hoping we get 12 days of this weather right here, but it is what it is. You know, unless a hurricane comes, we're here. We're a big enough boat to stay through whatever weather comes. It's our first day, picking up our first set.
The good weather is holding for the Blackjack II. The crew are making the most of the sunshine while they can.
We're gonna target grouper, as we always do, bottom fishing. Bottom fish are very subject to pressure. A falling barometer, the fish shut off. Where the barometer's rising is good. I think fish are like human beings. They like it sunny and 75 all the time. I mean, I don't like the rain, do you?
Clear skies mean the full force of the summer sun on the ocean. Sea surface temperatures in the Gulf of Mexico and Western Atlantic have hit 90 degrees. But hot seas breed hurricanes.
They say the Gulf's the hottest it's been in 100 years or something like that. That's why it's such a breeding ground right now for storms.
Another storm is expected. The only question is when.
Yeah, swordfish, nice one. Be careful with it. We're getting in our last section, first set of the trip. We have 568 hooks out. We had a fair day of fishing. We had 8 tunas and 6 swordfish. So weather's deteriorated a little more today. We've actually got a tropical wave moving across the Atlantic, across the Bahamas to predict could intensify and increase in strength, possibly become a tropical storm. And it's supposed to cross over the peninsula of Florida into the Gulf. Hopefully it will not, because we're about right here.
The tropics are stirring again. An ominous new low-pressure system located off the Bahamas is creeping slowly westward towards Florida.
It's getting a little rough. About to get rainy, ain't it, Cal? Looks like it. About to go secure the deck. Got some weather coming. I'll make sure everything's tied down up here.
All eyes are now on this system, watching to see what it will do.
Magnitude Manatee around tomorrow morning. We will really be having heavy showers, wind against us.
Ships in the area are reporting extensive cloud buildup and changing weather.
Cool looking clouds. Wind's kind of picking up a little bit. Yeah.
Got some weather kind of.
In the last 24 hours, the low pressure has intensified. At the National Hurricane Center in Miami, it's being closely watched.
You're starting to see a circulation develop. You can see the low-level cloud lines starting to turn cyclonically here. With these developing disturbances, we don't have as good a handle on the track because the center hasn't really formed yet. It can kind of jump around. This is the time to task an aircraft to go out and fly into the system.
Operation Tentacle Cross. Positive launch? Okay. Copy that. I'll alert them right now. Thanks.
The call goes out to Biloxi, Mississippi, and the United States Air Force Reserve 53rd Weather Reconnaissance Squadron.
Time to launch a crew Teal 7-1.
Also known as the Hurricane Hunters. Their job is to provide the data needed to assess the new threat rising off the Atlantic.
This is a tropical disturbance. They're not taking anything lightly down in that area right now. And so that's what our job is today, and investigate that area of low pressure to see if it's going to develop into something much stronger.
Operations Director is Lieutenant Colonel Sean Cross. Flying the mission, one of his most experienced pilots.
Hey, Dina, it's Cross. You're alerted.
Lieutenant Colonel Dina Williams.
You're good to go. All right, mission purpose, we're gonna go out and fly this. We're gonna be Teal 7-1 today. Weather, to you.
Yes, ma'am. Right now, it's still moving at 290 at 7 knots. Strongest, weakest quadrants, lightning and turbulence. Just looking at satellite, looks like the northwestern quadrant will be the trickiest point.
This is a low-level mission, flying just above the ocean surface, allowing Teal 7-1 to see what satellites can't.
We take that low-level area and break it up into 4 quadrants. We're gonna fly around in each one of those 4 quadrants at an altitude of about 500 feet to 1,000 feet above the surface. While flying in each one of those quadrants, we're looking to see what the wind field is doing. If we get those counterclockwise winds in each one of those quadrants, then we have the birth of a storm.
Check co-pilot.
You know, we're trained as pilots to avoid weather at all costs.
All right, clear for takeoff. Takeoff's complete.
But here in the 53rd, we throw the rule book out the window and we fly right into what I call the most intense weather that Mother Nature has created.
Nose controls. Take off into the channel. Gears up, flash up.
We're either going to reaffirm what they've already put out, or it could possibly change. It could possibly diminish. Hopefully for everybody out there, we're going to go out there and we don't find anything. And this system is going to completely fall apart and our job will be done.
Low pressure building by the Bahamas. They don't know if it's going to go turn and go into the Gulf or turn and come up the east coast of Florida. They're not sure yet, but expecting tropical weather by the end of the weekend here.
Ships all around the southern U.S. are already thinking about plans to avoid the storm. Shrimper Sea King has one of our cameras.
A little bit of weather, 20, 30 mile an hour winds. It stirs the ocean up. Would be good for the shrimping. Boat is ready, crew is ready.
the Hurricane Center give this a high chance for the next 2 to even 5 days. Hurricane hunters are headed out there right now. They're almost there, and they're going to sample all around the system looking for that closed circulation.
Here's the satellite uplink we have with the aircraft. You can see right here. Here's home base right now, right here. They left here earlier this morning, and they're down in this area right now, flying around.
After 3 hours airborne, Flight Teal 71 has reached its target and enters the storm.
I don't know what his altitude is. I can't tell off of this. Just one second. So let's see.
Incoming message.
We've measured the northwest and the southeast quadrants circulation. So that means 50-50 because he only has circulation in 2 quadrants of the 4. Right now we've got counterclockwise winds going this way here and then this way here. So what he's got to do is find these other 2 quadrants and see if he's got those counterclockwise winds. If he does, it's just a big circle of wind. If he gets that, well, then that's a little more concerning because now we have a tropical system that's building.
Ready to do a nice haul, Michael?
Oh, I'm ready, Bob. We're trying to fish veins that ain't but as wide as this boat, but we got a squall coming, so we're about to have some fun.
Off the southern tip of Florida, the weather is starting to turn, causing big problems for the crew of the Blackjack.
Go to sleep is the thing that stays ever happened. Right now, we can't see that depth.
Thunderstorms are blowing up, suggesting the low-pressure system near the Bahamas may be building.
We can't catch a fish right now. This is me frustrated because nothing is going right.
At the National Hurricane Center, the data from the aircraft is confirming their fears. The system has formed a cyclone, and it's quickly growing.
The Air Force plane was able to go out there and close off a closed circulation in the low levels, so that tells us that the storm has gone on, the system has gone on to become a tropical cyclone.
The sustained wind speed inside the system has now broken the 40-mile-per-hour threshold, making this officially a tropical storm.
Let's go right over to Rob, who's tracking the impact on the Bahamas. He's also looking at what this storm could bring to the U.S. Rob, good morning to you.
Good morning, Dan. The National Hurricane Center baptizing Tropical Depression number 9 to become Humberto with 40-mile-an-hour winds. Right now, centered about 70 miles east of Great Abaco Island.
Newly named Humberto gives an early indication of its unpredictable nature. As a result of the new data, its projected path has now drastically changed.
The storm has begun moving northward. The tropical storm force winds that you can see here are offshore of Florida, and now expecting a west-northwestward motion, approaching the coast of Florida as a tropical storm.
The USA's eastern seaboard is one of the most storm-vulnerable coastlines in the world. Over 100 different hurricanes have impacted here in the last 50 years. The Gulf of Mexico is off the hook, but ship crews from Miami to Jacksonville are now scrambling to plan escape routes.
Be time to pull back, Johnny. The tropical depression is turning a tropical storm. It's actually aiming right here to Port Canaveral. If it becomes a hurricane, the port may issue a mandatory evacuation. We got to get out of here. Go back to the canal and hope for the best.
The vessel will depart today at 1700, and we will proceed to Bermuda. And we expect inbound bad weather, sorry, some job. Reach, Captain. In 10-15 minutes.
In the port of Fernandina Beach, Vladimir Korovin, captain of the container ship Summers Isles, is quickly replanning his next few days.
We are constantly check the weather condition. We're receiving the weather reports. It's always changing.
The 4,000-ton Summers Isles carries cargo on a back-and-forth route between Florida and the port of Hamilton in Bermuda. Humberto is bearing down on them fast. Captain Vlad needs to get out ahead of it.
The vessel is prepared, the crew is prepared, so we're ready for the rough seas. This is our job.
As the Summers Isles leaves Fernandina Beach, Humberto is 500 miles to the southeast, moving slowly towards Florida, where Shrimper Sea King is still at sea.
Guys trying to get the tarp put up for the weather coming. Tomorrow, east-northeast, 15 to 20, increasing to 20 to 25, with gusts of 35. 6 to 9 foot speeds. I believe I'll be going home and let the low pressure come by and go. And it's not just me. I have crewmen. I even have my dog coming.
The deepening low pressure is drawing in air from all around, causing pockets of thunderstorms to spring up with little warning.
Staying over there, texting his mother. He's worried. Hurricane coming. Going over him. I just cooled down 10 degrees. You feel that? Yeah. Almost to us now.
We departed yesterday evening from Fernandina Beach. We faced with some strong winds and waves against us. Somewhere behind us is Humberto.
Overnight, Humberto's slow turn northward has become a tight arc, missing the east coast and heading back out to sea on the tail of the Summers Isles.
We are somewhere here, so the storm, so it will chase us. We expect to arrive Bermuda Tuesday. Wednesday we have to depart from Bermuda. We will meet this bad weather with this storm.
All Captain Vlad can do is try to maintain his distance ahead of the storm. But as it turns to sea, it intensifies. Winds have reached 75 miles per hour. Humberto is now a Category 1 hurricane.
Okay, so where are we at here? What do we have?
Chappie's gonna come off today. Dina Williams just called in and says she can fly it.
Okay, perfect.
Yep.
All right.
In Mississippi, the hurricane hunters are on round-the-clock deployments.
We have to be able to sustain flight operations 24/7 until the National Hurricane Center says, you guys are done, you can go home.
All right, so you steer clear back. You steer clear back. Normal rates. Traction home.
After 4 or 5 weeks straight, you get kind of worn out. But you're increasing the forecast accuracy by 25% of where a hurricane may make landfall. Bottom line, it does save lives.
271, switch tower when you're ready. 271, switch.
That's our job, that's what we do.
97.
And strengthening, actually, the latest track from the Hurricane Center has winds at 85 miles per hour, moving northeast at 5, expected to become a Category 2 storm later today or tomorrow, and very close to being a Category 3 storm by the time we get to Wednesday as it heads closer to Bermuda and then a big turn up to the north.
Bermuda is a group of islands in the middle of the Atlantic, 650 miles from the U.S., and they're now directly in the firing line. Bermuda's 72,000 residents rely on supplies arriving by sea. If Hurricane Humberto strikes here, they could become completely cut off.
We supply the island with food, cars you drive, the buses you ride on, everything, basically.
Container ships and the cargo dock are a lifeline for the islanders.
The ships didn't come for 2 weeks, the island was starved. That's the bottom line.
The cargo ship Oleander is carrying one of our cameras. It runs containers carrying anything from fruit and water to cars and coaches from Newark, New Jersey to Bermuda. No ships can stay here through a hurricane. A loose vessel could wreck the port and cut Bermuda's vital supply line.
I can show you our weather forecast.
Captain Jasek's only option is to steer the Oleander across the path of Humberto. But if the storm intensifies, he could find himself too close for comfort.
Humberto is approaching Bermuda. Here we have the Bermuda, our present position. Here is the vessel track and our destination, New Jersey. So we can clearly see, we will expect some strong winds.
Loading of the Oleander is complete and the ship can depart. As the Oleander exits Hamilton Port, the Somers Isles is just arriving.
Captain speaking. We are approaching Hamilton, Bermuda.
The Somers Isles will be the last ship allowed to enter the port before they start their shutdown procedures.
All these trucks and stuff you see around here will be packed away. All the equipment that can fly has to be packed away or tied down. We don't have to worry about this crane moving anywhere, of course, because it's heavy.
The pressure is now on the crew of the Somers Isles and the dock workers to get the ship turned around.
These containers here are the Somers Isles containers. So we're gonna have to load all these back before the ship actually sails. Because we don't want these containers on the dock cause a major problem. They're up high, and the last containers we have, the battle off BR.
On the bridge of the Somers Isles, it's now Captain Vlad's turn to plan his escape route out of the path of Humberto.
This is now a normal route from Bermuda to Florida, Fernandina Beach. Because of the hurricane, this Humberto coming in this direction. Alarm. This is alarm sounding. It's updated information about Humberto. Max wind 95 knots with the gust 115 knots. It means if we will sail tomorrow morning, it's too late for us already, and we cannot escape. So for us, the best possibility is to sail today.
Okay, hook up another tuna.
Roger DaCosta, a solo operating tuna fisherman,
Seems to want to take a lot of line.
is 20 miles off the coast of Bermuda. He is one of hundreds of fishermen carrying our cameras. Throughout hurricane season, more than 1,000 men and women working in marine environments were filming for National Geographic in the world's stormiest seas to document tropical cyclones more closely than ever before. As Hurricane Humberto bears down on the islands of Bermuda, Roger is watching the skies, judging the right moment to head for home.
Pretty choppy. Approaching the island again. Weather's turned pretty bad. I can see it on the phone. You can see it moving right in on us, and it's not looking good.
Roger ties his boat up in a narrow inlet to the west of the main island. When a hurricane threatens, the boats in this bay will double up their mooring ropes, giving them greater stability in the storm. The fishermen on Bermuda are cautious. They've been hit before.
One I was really scared in, Fabian. I think it gusted to 165 miles an hour.
Category 3 Hurricane Fabian struck the islands in September 2003, doing $300 million worth of damage.
Fabian was serious, very serious. I never heard the wind scream, make a noise like that ever. The damage was unbelievable. What I fear is the hurricanes may get stronger and we may face something even stronger than Fabian. And that's going to be catastrophic, I think.
So I'm James Dodgson, I'm the Director of Bermuda Weather Service. We've just had a call with the National Hurricane Center in Miami discussing Hurricane Humberto, which we can see on the imagery behind me, quite a significant system.
Bermuda Weather Service is tasked with providing the islanders and the government with all available information on approaching hurricanes.
I'm heading to an update briefing to the Emergency Measures Organization. Humberto, now a major Cat 3, it's 100 knots, so that's 115 miles an hour sustained. The wind's just beginning to pick up. You can actually see a few little white caps on the sea there to the left.
So, cargo operations completed. We are ready for departure.
At the port, the Somers Isles has finished loading. Instead of heading east directly to the US, they will now sail due south, hoping to put as much distance between them and Humberto as possible.
The most important thing is safety of navigation, safety of the cargo, and safety of the people on board.
The dock workers can now complete the process of securing the port.
Done our prep, we're ready for the hurricane. We don't know what's gonna happen, to tell you the truth. This is all a waiting game, you know what I mean? And then when we come back the next day, we just clean up the mess.
A little bit of a walk this way.
In downtown Hamilton, Weather Service Director James is due to brief Wayne Keynes, Bermuda's Minister for National Security.
Good morning, everyone. I believe in important activity, so we're not going to wait. Our weather guru is here.
Thank you, Minister. So tropical storm force winds, 34 knots or more, arrive early this afternoon. Best estimates, west end of the islands around 1 this afternoon, continuing for a 12-hour period.
So let's start with the beaches. Will the beaches remain closed as of 2 p.m. today based on the information we heard, sir? Yes. Okay, we'll go now to buses. We in Bermuda have been through these storms before. We never know the trajectory, we never know the speed. There's nothing that you can do to prevent it, so all we can do is be prepared. So this country is powering down by 7.
Plans for shutting down the islands are set.
You prepare for the worst, but pray for the best.
Hurricane Humberto is now less than 100 miles from Bermuda.
I must implore all Bermudians to take the storm seriously, stay off the road until the all clear is given, board up your homes, close your shutters. It is time for us to make our way home and to start to prepare ourselves for Hurricane Humberto.
Humberto's hurricane force winds are 120 miles across. The Somers Isles, carrying one of our cameras, has headed south to avoid the storm, but they are encountering heavy seas.
Somers Isles, captain speaking. Now we are facing with the rough seas and high winds. We escaped from Hurricane Humberto. But wind still increasing, it's really huge. As a captain, I have some experience already how to escape from the bad weather. We left Bermuda this way and then we will turn to Fernandina, port of destination. Better to escape. Just think yourself one step ahead of dangerous.
The cargo ship Oleander has taken the opposite escape route, to the north of the hurricane. They are also feeling the effect of its widening wind field.
Hurricane Humberto is approaching Bermuda right now. We can see Hurricane Humberto and our position over here. Right now, wind is about 40, gusting to 50 knots.
The Oleander and the Somers Isles are nearly 400 miles apart, but neither ship has escaped Humberto's reach. The hurricane is getting bigger.
You're gonna see
This is Joey. Roger. Heading down to the boat now. And apparently there's an issue. I got an issue. The boat's full of moorings and it's close to our boat.
Hurricane Humberto is now reaching Bermuda. Tuna fishermen Roger and buddy Joey, filming on our cameras, are racing to get to their moorings before their boat suffers serious damage.
This does not look good.
A boat has been ripped loose by the wind and is caught up in the web of ropes securing Roger's boat.
Had the boat not got tangled, it would have pinned against all the other boats at the dock, and in less than 5 or 10 minutes, you would have had some very serious damage.
A strong gust of wind frees the loose vessel, but that leaves it drifting, uncontrolled on the wind again. The owner of the loose boat arrives just in time to drive it to safety. Roger will now stay on his boat to keep watch through the storm.
So I didn't expect things to happen quite that early. Things can get out of control really quickly, go from 0 to 10 in a heartbeat. In the dark with even heavier winds, that could have been a disaster.
I've currently just gone through my shift change. The forecasters are about to go through their shift change, fresh and ready for the passage of Humberto.
Ashby Bradshaw, in her 3rd year with the Bermuda Weather Service, has the hurricane shift. She will be filming for us as the storm unfolds.
I can give you an update right now. Currently, our 2-minute winds is 49 knots, coming from 200, gust to 71 knots. I'm going this way.
The outer bands of Humberto have arrived sooner than forecast. Reported wind speeds around the islands are far higher than expected.
The current conditions at Bermuda Weather Service, TXKF. Okay, sure. Right. Right, yeah. It definitely took me a little off guard at how quickly it came on once I came on shift. We were expecting the storm to be later in the evening.
Ashby has prepared a weather balloon to launch into the storm. Equipped with a radio transmitter, it could provide the best live data to track Humberto.
Currently have 50-knot winds, so it's debatable whether we will launch this balloon. Storm shutter has been shaking quite violently. There you go. When the wind comes round against the storm shutters, can make the launch quite dangerous.
Powerful hurricane winds are now raking the islands.
I'm standing outside my house in Hurricane Humberto, and as you can see, it's getting real windy out there.
The wind speeds are exceeding all forecasts for this early in the storm. Our cameras are rolling to capture the worst of it.
The gusts are getting higher. I think it's about 50 knots of wind here.
Even in the relative shelter of Rogers Harbor, winds are hitting dangerous levels.
Steady wind, means free. I hate when it hits at night. Yeah, daylight's a lot easier to deal with. You can see a gust of 100 miles an hour coming at you just by the salt water that it's picking up. You don't see that at night at all until it hits you.
Okay, it's starting to get really dark. I think the worst is yet to come. So lucky that we still have power. I just really hope it doesn't come any closer than it's meant to be, because Cat 3 would not be fun.
As darkness engulfs Bermuda, flashes light up the night sky. Transformers blow in a series of power outages, hitting 80% of the island. Using the backup generator, Bermuda Weather Service must stick to its task of tracking the island's biggest storm of the season. Outside the building, there is complete darkness.
And we're getting the first span of the eye wall passing over us now. You can see in the distance the satellite dish. It is taking quite a bit.
The Crescents had 105.
Gust.
Yep. Yeah, based on what we heard here.
Reports from around the island of gusts over 120 miles per hour reveal Humberto's unexpected power. A balloon launch now could help the team understand why the hurricane is hitting so much harder than expected.
Here we go.
We're about to attempt to do a balloon launch in 16 in.
Don't fight it. Once it goes, let her know.
Yeah. I was very skeptical whether it was safe to launch the weather balloon, and we settled that it was important to get the most accurate data out to the public.
You got it. You got it.
So when that balloon popped, it was crushing for a lot of us that we didn't get that data.
It started to gust up over 100. You feel like the whole situation's out of control.
Our window shaking. Oh, wow, okay.
At the Weather Service, storm shutters are now bolted closed. The team are locked in and can't see out.
Tensions are very high. The ceiling is actually shaking.
I'm just not sure about this one, like this specific.
I'm not going any closer.
They have to rely on instruments to tell them what's happening.
78 knots, 77 knots, instantaneous.
96 feet.
Outside, winds are hitting 115 miles per hour, and it's getting worse.
Look at that. Wow. Pressure could drop 4 millibars. Tornado. It's gonna have to be.
Tornado?
All across Bermuda, Hurricane Humberto is causing havoc as cables are downed and boats are ripped from their moorings.
Oh my gosh. No, please stop. This is right in front of our house. Our neighbor's cable is flickering. Oh, there. Oh my God.
At the port, one of the 2-ton containers has been lifted off the dockside and is seen drifting across the harbor.
Tornado?
Intense winds in the eye wall of the hurricane are creating localized tornadoes.
We have 100 knot gusts here at Bermuda Weather Service. Our Doppler radar has gone down. The forecasters are looking for evidence of possible tornado passage just now.
You're the expert, yes. 96 knots, wow.
Oh my goodness.
It's something to drop the pressure that much, that quick.
So we were just like in a tornado just now?
Vortex.
Tension was very high. I work with some very seasoned forecasters. For me to see them as worried and frightened as they were, that was worrying me.
Maybe that's the worst.
Okay, we're getting ready to try to leave. Check the houses. No electricity.
Hearing reports of major building damage, Roger has decided to leave the boats to go check on his home.
Over the trees now. We'll be able to get the power out.
You're very worried.
Oh, we have an issue.
Kind of inch your way through,
All right, just clearing the road.
anticipating that something's gone wrong.
Still going down. Yeah, couldn't see anything.
Once you know there's no damage, it's a relief like you can't believe.
The hurricane-force winds are finally starting to die down. Roger's home has escaped serious damage, but the Bermuda Weather Service has been hit hard.
I opened the door and I was like, where'd the deck go? The deck is gone. Our ghost satellite that I showed you earlier is on the ground, which would explain why our satellite beams out. And oh gosh, that's why our AC is not working.
Shortly before midnight, Hurricane Humberto moves away into the Atlantic. Its 8-hour offensive on Bermuda is ending. As the sun rises, across the island, residents can begin to assess the damage.
Good morning from Bermuda. Just stepping out. We just lost a bit of ceiling on our porch roof, but the roof seems to be okay. Oh, I see my neighbor's walls going down.
At the docks, the team is on clear up already, eager to reopen to shipping as soon as possible. The container that was lifted clean off the dock during the night has drifted to the far end of the harbor.
It blew right off this point right here in the water and went straight down. And remember, this was blowing in the wind, so it was moving pretty fast.
In daylight, the damage at the Bermuda Weather Service is easier to see.
We currently just have a big door into a really nice view of St. George's Harbor.
Roger and his boat survived another Bermuda hurricane.
It was more than I bargained for last night. We did all the preparations for a big one, but really didn't think it was gonna be that big. Got pretty scary for a couple hours, you know.
The worst of it is behind us. We have made it through Hurricane Humberto. The country is getting back on its feet, and the good news is there was no loss of life. From one of my favorite poems, Invictus's, our head is bloodied, but it is unbowed. Thank you, Bermuda.
Humberto produced hurricane-force winds and gales for 2 more days before it dissipated 600 miles south of Newfoundland.